Please welcome New York Times food editor, Sam Sifton.
Wow, this is exciting. Sun's peeking out outside, so we should have a glorious day. I'd like to welcome you all to our third annual Food for Tomorrow conference brought to you by the New York Times. Before we get underway, I'd like to take a moment to thank our supporters, the Oppenheimer Funds, the Cornell Douglas Foundation, and the Kroger Company. It's really an honor to be here in front of you, and I look forward to 2 full days of exciting conversation and I hope thought-provoking questions and answers from both the panelists up here and from you in the audience. So now, just a quick note on Q&A. We have a couple of, I'm going to call them docents with mics, and you are welcome to ask questions during these panels, at the end of the panels probably, should we have time. We'll make time. But I'm going to ask you, please, to keep those questions brief and to the point, and we'll save editorializing for the bar afterward. Fair enough? We are also very thankful today to our collaborators, the Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture. They've put together a terrific series of Thought for Food segments that you're going to see up here on the stage, and then some farm experiences that you will have this afternoon in what I hope will be blazing sunshine. That said, as I understand it, Kim Severson and I will be mucking out some pig stalls, but I think you guys will have a more sylvan time of it. If you have any questions or issues during this couple of days, please feel free to reach out to Kim or to me. If we're not on stage, we'll be available to you somewhere in the hall. Now, to offer you a proper welcome to a beautiful space and an important institution, I'd like to welcome to the stage the Chief Executive Officer of the Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture, Ms. Jill Isenbarger.
Thank you so much. Good morning. So 6 weeks. We have just 6 weeks to the day until we're finally through this slog of an election year. For well over a year now, we've been reminded daily of all of the problems that we hope against hope one individual, the American president, will fix. The most pressing and near-term issues always capture the narrative and the media's attention. Terrorism, immigration, the refugee crisis, trade agreements. Don't get me wrong, all of these things are important. But what of the more existential threats? Threats such as climate change and its impact on agriculture, fisheries, and fresh water. On how our children and their children are going to feed themselves decades from now. These threats get short shrift. In this election cycle, they've barely been mentioned. We applaud if a candidate even acknowledges that climate change exists. Now, the more realistic among us know that an American president cannot solve it all, but what she or he chooses to raise up to the level of political attention sets the agenda for this country and for much of the world. For those of us gathered here today to talk about food, know this: climate change and food security are intrinsically linked. Drought and irrigation-based agriculture, plagues of insects attacking crops and forests, lands that have been farmed for generations being washed away in one freak storm after another, reefs that have been fished for centuries, bleaching and dying. How we as a society choose to deal with climate change and how we choose to feed ourselves both affect our common future. As you sow, so shall you reap. This ancient proverb is very applicable to our modern cultural landscape. We do reap what we sow. And for the past half century, we've been sowing a lot of problems in agriculture. Just last week, the United Nations passed a declaration aiming to slow the spread of superbugs, bacteria that have become resistant to antibiotics, citing both threats to human health as well as to our food supply. Since so much of livestock production depends on the use of antibiotics. It's only the 4th time in history that the General Assembly has gathered to talk about a health crisis. But the choices we make now can also lead to an extraordinary future. That's why Stone Barn Center exists, to be a laboratory for learning about and demonstrating agroecological farming and for catalyzing a culture of eating based on ecosystem health. Like clean air and clean water were in the 1960s and 70s, American food security must be made a national priority. We must invest in farming that is adaptable and regenerative, that respects the limits of season, that builds soil and economies. Such a system would help make fresh, healthy, affordable food available to more of our fellow Americans. Central to such food security, however, are the farmers themselves. Our future hinges on the investments we make today in the next generation of farmers who grow nutritious food for their families and for ours. So as we begin these 2 days of intensive discussions about the future of food, I want to share my optimism because nothing embodies my hopes for the future better than the young farmers who want to dedicate their lives and their fortunes to feeding us. We need more of them, and we need to help them succeed. For climate change is not the only problem facing our farming system. We are about to witness the largest retirement of farmers in US history. Today, the average age of the American farmer is 58.3 years old and getting older, and just 6% of our farmers are under the age of 35. Then there's the land problem. As farmers retire, 400 million acres of farmland is slated to change hands in the next 2 decades, an area roughly 4 times the size of California. Will those lands be developed? Will they continue as industrial-scale monocultures? Or will they be put into diversified production and sound stewardship? What I love about the young farmer movement is the strength and conviction of the people who are choosing to go into farming. Not because they have to, not because they don't have other choices, but because they want to farm. They want to grow healthy and nutritious food to take care of a piece of the earth. The young people I see working toward a new food system are sparking investment in farm products, in the fields and the pastures, in the slaughterhouses, in the kitchens, and in new fast food and farm-to-fork restaurants. Part of our work here at Stone Barns is about growing more young farmers. We offer technical training, apprenticeships, business planning, and other ways to give them a leg up. And these are some of the folks I've gotten to know through our work. Kurt is managing a vegetable production farm and education center on Long Island. His goal is to own his own farm in Vermont one day. Chrisanne is managing a small farm in Colorado and holding 2 jobs to keep herself afloat. Her dream is simple, to farm full-time and make an honest living. Arian is managing an 80-acre farm here in the Hudson Valley. He wants to apply what he learned at Stone Barns, the integration of field crops and small grains into a sheep rotation as a way of building healthy soil and fertility. And last, in his spare time, apart from managing Stone Barns Center's field production, Jay is building an online platform to help farmers find seeds that suit their ecosystem. He needs some coveted research and development dollars to support a tool that will help expand agriculture's biodiversity. These and other young farmers are inheriting all of the problems created over the past decades and a planet with a changing climate. Yet we are counting on them to feed us well into the future. And we are not giving them the tools they need to succeed, not the public policies, not the research and development dollars, not the education and training. So to shine a light on these challenges and on opportunities for change, Stone Barns has organized and edited a new book, Letters to a Young Farmer, with contributions from some of the most influential farmers, writers, leaders, and entrepreneurs of our time. We ask them quite simply, what would you say to young farmers starting out now? The book, to be released in March, is a deeply inspiring response to that question. 3 of the book's contributors are here at the conference, Nick Jamay, and our own amazing colleagues, Dan Barber and Fred Kirshenman. We are grateful for their words and for the words of the other contributors. At the core of what they write is a deep respect for the people who farm. I am no exception. My work with young farmers is one of the highest honors of my life. These passionate and dedicated people overwhelm me with gratitude and hope. They are the heroes of our time, and we need to thank and support them. One of my favorite passages in the book was written by Barbara Kingsolver, the novelist and author, and herself a farmer. She writes, "Prepare to rectify one of the most ridiculous, sustained oversights in all of human existence. When we told our youth that farming was a lowly aim compared with becoming teachers, doctors, or lawyers, what were we thinking? We need teachers for just a few of life's decades. If we're lucky, we'll see a doctor only a few times a year and a lawyer even less. But we need farmers every single day of our lives, beginning to end, no exceptions. We forgot about that for a while, and the price was immense. Slowly, we're coming back to our senses. Be patient with us. We need you." And we at Stone Barn Center need all of you, our community and friends and concerned food citizens, to help us create a sustainable and healthy food system for everyone. So I'd like to offer everyone a warm welcome, and we look forward to spending the next 2 days with you all. Thank you so much.